have beautiful nails though. You could just like focus on my nails and be like, look how great her nails look. You could like put that as like a caption like on the video. Good morning. It's Sunday, which means I'm gonna do as little as possible today. Haven't got anything planned at all, so I think I'll just tidy up the flat a bit from last night, watch some Netflix probably, and also I need to write an article for Wow247 which is due tomorrow, so I'm gonna do that now I think before I run out of energy, and then the rest of the day is just gonna be very lazy. So yeah, not very exciting Vlogmas today probably. I've just been catching up on some Vlogmas videos and reading some blog posts. I love lazy Sundays like this where you just sit in your pyjamas all day and pretty much do nothing. So we're watching the X Factor, obviously, and just ordered some sushi. So I got some cucumber rolls, some coriander tuna, some chicken katsu rolls, and then Laura got a little selection box and some edamame beans and some miso soup and a can of Coke. So I thought I'd finish today's vlog with a quick evening skincare routine. I don't really use that many skincare products anymore. I've kind of honed it down to a few that seem to work for me, so I'll just show you what I use. You can probably tell I'm not really wearing much makeup today, just a little bit of concealer and mascara from last night, which I couldn't really be bothered to remove. But yeah, so I start off with the Garnier Micellar water just to remove any makeup. I always especially like to use this if I'm wearing eye makeup, which I usually am, because it's really good at removing like mascara and eyeliner and stuff, and then just swipe a cotton pad over my whole face to get rid of most of my makeup before then going on to cleanse with this Elmis Tri-Enzyme Cleanser, which is kind of like an exfoliating cleanser, which is quite nice because it helps keep your skin really nice and smooth. I think it's part of their anti-aging range, but it's actually just really good if you have skin that's kind of tends to be a bit flaky and dry, so that's really good. And then if I was going to use a mask, it would be this Antipodes one. I can't really be bothered doing that tonight, so probably won't, and also it's pretty much finished, so I need to buy a new one. But this is my favourite mask just for all sort of general purpose skincare. It's quite hydrating, but also a little bit exfoliating as well, and it just sort of helps sort of rejuvenate your skin a bit. It's nice and soothing, but also seems to sort of get rid of any like horrible little bits. So that's probably my favourite mask. And then I'll move on to I don't really use a toner at the moment, but this sort of steps in place. It's the Jurlique Rosewater Balancing Mist, which is just like a nice little refreshing spray to use after you've cleansed. And so that just feels nice and cooling and soothing on the skin. And then once that's sort of had a minute to sort of settle in, I'll move on to an oil, and at the moment I'm using the Pai Rosehip oil and the Kiehl's Midnight Recovery Concentrate. I kind of use these sort of night about, so one night I'll use one and then the next night the other one, and I quite like them both. The Midnight Recovery Concentrate isn't quite as much of a sort of miracle product as I was hoping it would be, but it does seem to be pretty good, and it's nice and moisturising, especially at this time of year. And the Rosehip one is just a sort of good all-rounder, again nice and moisturising. And I wouldn't say it's like a miracle product either, but it's pretty good at keeping my skin in check. And then because those are both quite moisturising, I don't really need to follow up with sort of a heavy nighttime moisturiser. So at the moment I'm just using this Botanics All Bright one, which is actually sort of, I bought it as my morning moisturiser, and I kind of just use it for morning and night because I can't really be bothered to try and find another one to use at night time, because the oils are so hydrating. I don't really feel like I need like a heavy night moisturiser, so this is just what I'm using at the moment. I quite like it again. Not a miracle product, but it's pretty good and it seems to be doing nice things to my skin. So yeah, that's basically my skincare routine, so I'm gonna go and do that now, and then I think it's time for bed, so I'll see you in tomorrow's vlog.